Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you are lucky enough to be doing it too. I'm Bushka on Blitz, and I'm doing it with a little bit more lead in the pencil now that I'm running the Jagdpanther II. As always, this is a Patreon-sponsored post. For those of you that don't know what Patreon is, click on the link there. It'll tell you all about it. Basically, you donate a couple of bucks a month or however much you want, and you become part of a big community of tankers that I run and rampage with. Lots of fun and giggle. Now, the podcast too, I've just done a couple of good podcasts, one with my good mate Aegon and Snake Eyes, otherwise known as Max, the Mad Russian on the run from St. Petersburg. And the other podcast was with was with Dave, the sock robber, the man who built blitzstars.com, and both are well worth listening to. So make sure you search for Bushka on iTunes, and I'll pop up there and you can add me, or there is an RSS feed on my website, www.bushkaonblitz.com/podcast. Now, this is the Jagdpanther II. I just reviewed the Jagdpanther, and it's been great filling in the holes in the portfolio, so to speak. Doing these tanks that I really didn't get to the first time around. I just kind of leapt to the Tier X variants of the game. The Jagdpanther 100, the Grill, all those, the Grille, or however, Anyway. And I was really happy with the Jagdpanther. The Jagdpanther 2 is, it's even better. I have had the most wildly successful introduction to Germanic tanking with these things that a man could hope for. This tank has so much going for it. Everything that you liked about the Jagdpanther, this tank has, but a little bit better. Look at the pace on it. It's got 55 kilometers an hour as a top speed and 38 degrees of traverse on its tracks. That means it gets out and can actually get to a flank and snipe the house down. Now, the only thing that it's probably missing, and you're going to see this when you're sniping with it, is the bloom is a little larger and your aim time is longer than the Jagdpanther, the Tier 7 variant. And that's because it is. It's 2.3 seconds of aim time as opposed to the 105mm that the Jag has. This is a 120mm gun now, or 12.8 centimeter pack. It's 0.35 dispersion, 2.3 seconds of aim time, and lovely penetration numbers. 246 millimeters of pen on your standard AP rounds and 311 on your APCR. It really does get the job done, boys and girls. It smacks. You've got 2500 DPM, but it's not really the DPM, although the DPM is nice, that keeps you coming back for this tank. It's the mobility. The mobility with this gun is just absolutely gorgeous. And it's also the hull down factor. The tank's pretty unique in that it's non-turreted, but it feels like driving a turreted tank because the upper part of the chassis is so phenomenally strong, while the lower part, the upper glacis and such, is absolutely pants. And that's just, anything will pen the bottom of this tank. Not just the lower glacis, but the upper glacis too. It's the chassis and the sections either side of the chassis, either side of the gun mantlet, which are just absolute powerhouses. And you want to be looking to get into positions like this where you can actually go hull down and pound back the reds. And I've done a heap of times just trolled shots out on what's that map? Rockfield. On Rockfield, you can go to that middle section there and just move backwards and forwards with just that section up the top showing, and you can get a steel wall. You'll just pick up a steel wall because people will bounce and they can't help themselves. And you can see here this IS-3 and this Borsig are both in a situation where they want to get me hull down and they're just going to struggle to. Now, the aim time's the big drawback on the gun, and that can be a punish. But at the same time, look at the mobility here. Just getting up, go forward, look for a shot, not there, back it up, turn around, bang, bang, bang. It's all happening. Let's take 10 seconds out from footage just to show you the armor profile. Now, this is from the perspective of an IS-3 defender hurling heat, which means that it's going to have 270mm of pen. And look, it's still not going to pen you on your upper plate. It might have an incredibly lucky roll and get through, but it's got 290mm of average armor on your area either side of the gun, not the upper plate, sorry. See how I'm reversing here over a hill and how I increase the angle at the front of this tank exceptionally And that gives you, and if you look at it here, I'll show you, it gives you an area that becomes an auto bounce zone. Now you've got 6 degrees of gun depression. Any more would make this incredibly overpowered, but you can see that front plate there, when you pull back over a hill, becomes just an auto bounce zone. And what you want to do is use your mobility. You put the front plate up in the air like that, and then you pump over the top of the hill and use your mobility to get there quickly, pop a shot, and pull back. And at all times, whenever possible, you want to go hull down, like this. I mean, you can see I'm on desert sands. I've gone the flank. I'm just trying to show as little of that upper glacis as possible and showing them nothing but the chassis, the superstructure at the top either side of the gun mantlet. And it moves like lightning. For a TD, it really gets out there. And it's got that wonderful 460 alpha, and you can switch to HE on the light tanks of this world and do plenty of damage. I cannot tell you how fun this was. First 20 games I drove it to do the review. The next 25, 40 games I drove it because I really, really enjoyed the tank. When push comes to shove, mobility and being able to pull a gun around that's this good, this quickly to anywhere on the battlefield is something special. And I mean, I noticed that with the Jagdpanther itself at tier 7, but seeing it on this tank at tier 8 is a different kettle. Watch this RU-251. Now he's going to try and flank me. I'm going to move in here to the other side of this house. I'm going to preload HE. I'm going to set it up for a shot on him, and I'm going to bash him as he comes past, which is all well and good. He's going very, very quickly. What he's going to do is try and keep that traverse going, go up and beat the shot around and come up on the other side. We are there waiting for him well in advance of that, ladies and gents. And that's because that's what this tank is. It's a mobile, fast traversing, hard to COD tank destroyer. And what else would you want in a tank destroyer but a really, really good gun? And it's got that too. So you can see you can actually angle and shoot dead straight with your 6 degrees of gun depression and angle the superstructure up to about 370 millimeters a pen, or nearly auto bounce anyway when you're leaning back with it. But you're going to find places like this to get your shots off and then pull back ASAP and you know, take a bounce as you do it. And you're going to see here, I'll get another bounce. That's a bore stick at the back shooting AP at me. I'm going to get a hit here anyway, but you know, you take them so that you've got the opportunity to do the damage. And you can see how I pulled back there at the right time and absolutely didn't get shelved for it, which is important. When you have to, you can burn people down. I mean, it's got 2,500 DPM on its 12.8. You can drop the adrenaline and everything, and you can get rid of people pretty bloody quickly when you need to. And that's something that, while you're not nearly as good as the tier 10 variant, or the tier 9 variant, as in the Jag Tiger, you certainly do it a lot better than any of the tier 8 heavies that you run up against. The Carnarvons are closest in terms of DPM at 2,200 or 2,150, but I mean, you're another 400 on top of him. And that's good. These are all good things. My biggest issue with doing this review was not the fact that I had to find the right games. It was that I just had too many games. I've got one, and you can see they're smacking that LTTB with HE and then missing the shot, but being more than quick enough to just follow him around and set up for the shot again and get him. Because it's that quick. It's 55 kilometers an hour. It can side scrape. You're going to see me juke a shot out here at the end and just take it on the tracks. I'm going to let him sit and think I'm doing it, and then I'm going to just jerk back and try and get him to fire, and then jerk forward and just caught it on the tracks. And I mean, you've got to look for situations too, places where you can get the hull down situation going on. This area here on Dead Rail is actually quite useful for shooting across onto this hill, and depending on the position of the enemy tanks, you can be forward or back or any number of situations or variables. It's just a really good bloody tank. It's a good bloody TD. And that's a funny thing. Driving this tank is different from fighting against it. I've seen many people drive this, the Jag Tiger, the Jagdpanther. I based my opinion of them previously on how hard they were for me to fight. And I think it's just a fact of life that a lot of people don't drive these tanks correctly. if you're out and about in the field showing the front of this tank to anyone, you're going to get belted. There is no other way around it. You are going to get absolutely flogged, and you deserve to be, because you'll note in so many of these actual bits of footage, I'm in situations that hide the front of my tank and just expose, for the most part, the superstructure, or at least minimize the danger of receiving a shot anywhere but on that extremely red part of my tank. And you got to get good at that. So yeah, I think have I mentioned that you need to be doing that? You need to be going hull down. I know I just belabor the point, boys and girls, but it's an important one. Come on, think of the children. So what should we do? Let's have a look at a game then. I'll show you from a recent run I had with Hoodie. And look, this thing's been kicking butt for me. It's in excess. I think it's 2,200 average damage for me at tier 8, which is pretty bloody good for me. I mean, it might be the same for you super unicums out there, but for me, that's a pretty good solid run. I've got the APCR loaded here, and this is from experience, actually. What we're going to do is Hoodie is pushing up into the far left corner as our big heavy on the flank, the big dog on the flank. They've got 4 heavies, and I'm really worried that they're going to push up and just basically bum rush Hoodie in the Carnarvon, and that's exactly what's happening. And that's what really worries me here, that Hoodie's going to get stuck in a situation where he's going to get 2 or 3 heavies on him, and they're just going to hit point trade him down and focus fire him and kill him. So I've moved up here, and I'm willing to burn a little bit of APCR to ensure the continued survival of my platoon mate. Now, the Hoodster is doing a brilliant job there. He's just moving. He's got both on him. He had the SU-152 take a crack at him as well, and he's pulled that KV-4 right back, and now suddenly the KV-4 is in not such a good spot, but Hoodie obviously doesn't have a whole lot of hit points left. But you can see how good the gun on this thing is. Like, it's pretty bloody accurate. The aim time is not terrible, and the KV-4 is now out, and we can be really aggressive like we haven't been already. I mean, you'll note where I moved up there, it was really important that I got to that big bloody stone on my right hand side so that it could stop me from being hit from anything in their spawn area. And I already knew where 4 of the tanks were, so I was really only worried about the 3 guys that I didn't have within very close proximity of me. And you can see here now, we're smashing this poor old VK. He's not having much luck at all. We've put non-stop firing in all those tanks, and we're now going to pump around the corner as well. There's a Chi-Ri, there's an IS-3. They're looking for love, justice, and many other things. And we give it to them. We give them a lovely taste of the good stuff. We're going to miss out on this next shot on the Chi-Ri. Just gets through us. And we're going to try for a little bit of love with the IS-3. And you can see what I'm talking about here with this tank and how quickly we've been involved in this. And again, we bounce another one on the upper part of the superstructure. Always pushing. Now he's gone down behind there. Most TDs, you then have to trundle along merrily, waiting for a chance to get there. Look at this little bugger take off like a jackrabbit. I mean, for a TD, this is awfully quick. And we're going to get there well and truly ahead of the rest of the pack and just pump him. That's all we're going to do. Pumpity pump, pump, pump. Not hard. Keep driving forward. Very quick game is a very good game. And in that basically 2-minute stretch where we were pretty much firing all the time, we've done nearly 5,000 damage. I mean, we start the game, we get over to the left, and it's all over by the time we get to 4 minutes. All 7 reds are gone. In fact, we had all 6 reds gone inside of 2.5. Just an absolutely tremendous tank. Very mobile. Like a good medium where you see an idea, you see a plan, you see a pathway of attack, and you can take it. And it fits in and platoons really well with mediums, lights, heavies, anything, because it's so versatile. It's got armor if you can find a spot for it to sit, and it's got speed if you find a flank for it to smash. The gun is excellent. The gun handling's good. You'd like more gun depression, but that's why the turret's all the way at the back. You're going to struggle with gun depression. That's just how it is. Look, I love the tank. I can't recommend it highly enough. I think the Jagdpanther and the Jagdpanther II are both outstanding examples. And the fact that then they buffed the Jag Tiger so that it's now got the biggest DPM in the game means this little section here between 7, 8, 9, and eventually 10 in the German TD line is a real little pot of gold. I'd go so far as to say if I had to pick one 7, 8, 9 combo in a TD line to run, this would be it for me. The Jagdpanther II, and the Jagdtiger. They're really, really good TDs. And the gun handling on them is typically German, which is lovely. You love a bit of German gun handling. God knows I do. As always, guys, don't forget, if you would like to sponsor the channel, the Patreon link is there. Click on that, move onwards and upwards with life. Join in the fun, frivolity, and overall good humour that is displayed so often in the ridiculously big Telegram chat that we now have going for the patrons. I think we've got about 140 people in there. It's hilarious. And they're all great guns. The podcasts are out and about. Make sure you search Bushka on iTunes and subscribe to the podcast. The bushkaonblitz.com webpage also has a podcast section for those of you who don't use iTunes. It's got an RSS feed in there. I'm sure you can copy that link and rock and roll to your heart's content. Any questions, etc., send them to me at bushkawonking@gmail.com, and we'll do our level best. Until next time, boys and girls, look after your family and stay safe on the battlefield.